Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin. Thank you very much for joining us on this Tuesday. Alan Ruff and Hugh MacDonald of the Daily Mail here to keep us all sane and to discuss the major topics today. Yes, European football occupies our mind as well as possible incomings and outgoings at Scottish Premiership clubs. First of all, Celtic Cluj, Celtic Park, tie evenly balanced at 1-1. Do you anticipate any major upset there, Ruffy?
I hope not for Scottish football. I think most of the fans of Scottish football like to see teams from Scotland in later stages of competitions. One each away from home. If you ask any manager, first thing they say is an away goal. They've got an away goal. They didn't threaten Celtic too much over there. You would think Celtic at home, with the way that they're playing just now, the firepower they've got, should win this game. I don't think it'll be a runaway 4 or 5-0. And I think they'll have to work hard to get the first goal. And if they get the first goal, I think another one would be sufficient.
Here's what the Celtic manager Neil Lennon expects.
Well, they're a big, strong team. You know, they've got good pace in certain areas, and they're direct. You know, and they're threaded set plays. So, yeah, I mean, the physical side of the game is part of the game. I don't think it's going to be over physical. The game wasn't in Romania. I think there was plenty in the game the first leg to suggest that we could hurt Cluj in certain areas. So that's what we'll be trying to do. You know, Cluj will be hungry. You know, you can see by some of the sound bites coming out from them what the game means to them as well. So we have to match that hunger and then, you know, earn the right to play and then really play with a purpose and a forcefulness, particularly at home.
El Hamed and Mikey Johnson back for Celtic Q, and they're scoring goals aplenty.
Yeah, there's a new dynamism about Celtic that's been very refreshing. I think Neil Lennon's early period, which was difficult because he had to adhere to certain principles that the players were used to. I think now we're seeing the Neil Lennon team. I think we're seeing it in terms of selection, whether rightly or wrongly. Football have huge arguments whether it should be using Sinclair more, etc., etc. But Mikey Johnson, I think, will be a really important player for Celtic in years to come. And there certainly seems to be, it's reflected in the stats, the number of goals they've scored. So there's a dynamism about them. I think they'll win tonight and they'll win comfortably. I think they have got players up front of real quality. I think Edouard's of substantial quality, and players like Christie as well. I think this will be a huge season, barring injury, for Ryan Christie. Yep,
okay. Neil Lennon doesn't think it'll be over physical. His captain doesn't quite agree with that.
It's going to be physical. They're very, very direct. They play off second balls. They've got good wingers, good striker as well, and they've got good legs in the middle of the pack. But for us, it's about us playing our own game. We play a passing game, we get high up the park, we put crosses in the box, we create chances, and we've got top quality players up the park, and whoever starts, they'll give us good legs and they'll give us chances to create stuff up front, that's for sure.
Well, all the speculation going up to this game and probably after it is on potentially players coming in and some that would like to go out. I mean, doesn't Cham stay? James Forrest, they wouldn't entertain a bid for him. Certainly didn't entertain one for Callum McGregor. If anything, Ruffy, do you anticipate new deals for James Forrest, new deal for Callum McGregor, and then the signings to start?
Yeah, I think the Callum McGregor one and the Christie one are excuse me, long term. Mm-hmm. The Cham one, people have already made their mind up he can be replaced, and if you were to get 8 or 9 million for him, you know, I think you can replace him. You know, I think he is a quality player in European style football. You know, he suits this style of play. He has all the time in the world. He can pull the strings and everything. But I think you could find another player who's possibly better than him. So of the three, if there was somebody going to go, for me it would be Sham.
Yeah, strangely enough, I think Neil Lennon sat him down and said to him, "Look, you're going to be a linchpin here."
He could be the number 10 that we've all been looking for, in the absence of Thomas Rodgick. I really rate Ncham. I think if to look at him last year, he was in a huff. You saw it at St Mirren just after the Porto bid fell through, where basically he almost seemed to get himself sent off. He was just, and he never. I think he had one good game at Celtic Park against Rangers, and for the rest of the season he wasn't really on fire at all. But I always look back on Peter. He's 23. He's played in Serie A. He was good enough for Manchester City to go and sign him and look at him. And he also played for the French under-21s while playing abroad. So that suggests there's real quality there, and I think there is. But he would be the most likely to leave, I think, because I don't see James Forrest leaving. I think there's a possibility of Callum McGregor leaving, but not at this time.
Yeah.
Because Celtic politically can't allow Callum McGregor to go at this time.
Yeah, okay. Give me your prediction for tonight.
2-0.
3.
Okay. Well, from one end of Glasgow to the other. It's an interesting one, this. This story emerged yesterday, Hugh, with regards to Lionel Di Placido, an Argentina player in the Primera Division for Lanús, who apparently is being looked at with a view to selling James Tavernier. Now, that's a strange one. I didn't know James Tavernier was unsettled. Are they trying to get out one of their key players, that the most sellable assets for a significant figure? Is that what the drill is here, to see which one's going to bite first?
Well, there's two ways of looking at this. I mean, there's been a lot of speculation over Morelos. The players have been awash with Chinese clubs, AC Milan, Eintracht Frankfurt, etc., etc. And there's not been a sniff there. I mean, Stephen Gerrard said, listen, no bid at all. Now you're looking at Tavernier, there was a lot of stuff. Newcastle are in for him. Steve Bruce says, nah, I'm not interested in him. So there's that side of it. There's also the side that they're quite right that if they do lose them, they have to have a replacement. And that's just good management.
Yeah.
But at the moment, there's the two things about Rangers are they saying, they seem to line is, we don't have to sell.
Yeah.
And then the line from people behind it, maybe perhaps, and Rangers supporters will jump in here, maybe people with agendas are saying, yeah, they do have to sell. So it'll be interesting. Again, the proof will be in the pudding, what happens until the end of September.
Yeah, it's interesting for me because if they keep Morelos beyond the window, great bit of business. I think keeping him.
Yep.
Tavernier, equally so. Jamie Murphy, Graham Dorrans, Jason Holt. These type of players, Stephen Gerrard will want to empty them out the door. Of the signings he's made, I'm somewhat surprised that, Glenn Middleton's gone to Hibs on loan, but you're looking at Jake Hastie. I mean, will he go out on loan? Because he's nowhere to be seen in the. If anything, signings that Rangers were making this year, I thought they would be players that they desperately wanted to be first team or pushing to get into that first team.
I think the most interesting signing is Aribo and Ojo to a lesser extent, but Aribo because they spent money on him. I reckon the whole package to get Aribo, with fees and
he looks a player, Hugh.
And he looks what they need, and he looks a starter, and so does Ojo at the moment. But Aribo more so. I think with the Tavernier thing, you would think that they would have some kind of backup for Tavernier just by moving Flanagan to right back, which is his preferred position anyway.
Yeah.
And then you've got Barisic and Halliday to fight for left back. But I think it's good due diligence that if you are anticipating a bid for a player, it's to get his replacement in before rather than after.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, from Midland Rangers, which we'll talk about in greater detail tomorrow, Barry Ferguson will be on the show. Just out of curiosity, no slip-ups there?
None at all. None at all. I think it's comfortable Rangers.
Okay, cigars out for Rangers in the return leg. We are going to talk Hearts and Hibs after we give you the quiz. if Hugh MacDonald doesn't get that, then there's something far wrong. He should be all over that quiz answer. Don't forget, you can win one of our PLZ team T-shirts in the colour of your favourite team. So, on to Hearts and Hibs. And the reason for this, quite simply, is we always like to read as much of your social media as possible. As ever, we like to emphasise to people that it is a football show, and we like to stay on track with the football rather than straying off to abuse right, left and centre, which you get nowadays across social media. Richard Harkis, who is a man who watches the show, would you believe, out in Vietnam. I hope I've got that right. See, we're all over the place. We're huge in Vietnam, by the way, Hugh. But he has thrown up, taking a closer look at Hibernian. And in the last 24 hours, I think a lot of people have started to really gather pace at taking a closer look at what Hearts are doing as well. And certainly Craig Levein, of the two managers, is under the greater pressure for the start to the season. Certainly the Hearts fans are not happy, and we've had more than a few people calling for Craig Levein's head. But who would come in, and will he get sacked by Anne Budge, even if he was under intense pressure over the next couple of weeks, with Celtic to play on the horizon as well, and a far from impressive game against Ross County. Let's first of all have a look at the key moment, the pivotal moment when I feel as if it started to go slightly awry for Craig Levein. That was, of course, the injury to Stevie Naismith in the semi-final of the Cup against Celtic. Well, this is an interesting one which is gathering pace. When Thistle played Hearts in the Cup, Thistle put up a good fight on the night. At half-time, they were booing them off the park, Hearts. And there's a growing unrest. I've got a lot of friends who are Jambos. They're not happy with them, Hugh. Absolutely,
and they're not happy in sort of two levels. One, the football they're playing. They don't see it as the free-flowing stuff that they would like. But it's most importantly, it's the results, because fans will suck up, pragmatic and perhaps uninspiring football if the results are fine. But that's some stat, isn't it? 1 out of every 3 games once without Naismith. So they don't win 2 times out of 3 if Naisy doesn't play. Now that's pretty damning, considering that Hearts, you would think, had the 4th biggest budget in Scotland, and so should be performing at least like the 4th best side. Yeah, the problem also with this, Hugh, is, everybody's had their say on. The agent Alan Preston has been quite scathing on it. This is what he had to say. He says, Hearts will have to sack Levein if results don't pick up. They've struggled ever since they lost the Betfred semi-final to Celtic. Yes, they had to contend with injuries to key players back then, but that's not the case now. There are difficult fixtures coming up after Celtic, and something has to change. That's a decision the board need to make. When Catherall was manager, everyone believed that it was Levein who was calling the shots. So if he were to step down as manager but stay on in the boardroom, then people would ask if anything had really changed. And for me, I look at it, Ruffy, and I did put this to Anne Budge at the start of last season. Is your manager bomb-proof? She said no then, but she's also reiterated in some of the written press that he would move up to director of football, which I think, I just think it's a crazy situation.
It might sound crazy, but if you're Craig Levein, you're going to take it if it's offered to you. I was told that he is actually getting 2 wages at this precise moment in time for the 2 jobs that he's doing. So he's going to have to give up one of them if that is the case. Yeah. I think if he goes back up, depending on who the new manager is that come in, he won't have anything to do with the team. If he's a strong manager, he got a say in it with Catherall because he was there and trying to help him. I still think he got a say in it when it was Robbie Nielsen.
But see, if you get a manager in, Alan, and you'll know more about us being a manager and that, but if you get a manager in and you're director of football, and you're going to the manager after 3 poor results and saying, listen, I don't like the way this is going, I'm director of football here, I think we'll have to sit in. The manager says, well, you can get away because it's better than when you were sitting here.
Yeah.
There's a whole political dynamite there.
Well, the only way that's not a political dynamite is if you suddenly go and pick another patsy who's willing to actually buy into this pyramid system.
Yeah, but will the fans accept that? I mean, for example, if he says, right, there's a pyramid system, we're going to get, I'm not saying he would take it back, but we're going to get Robbie Nielsen back, although I don't think he would.
Yeah.
My fans would say, well, that's a bit transparent. Or if he says, actually, we feel Craig's not done well, we're moving him back to director of football, and Austin McPhee's going to be the manager. But the fans going to have a look at that? I don't think so, Peter.
Well, I mean, for me, the manager in waiting is John Robertson.
Yeah, but I agree, and I think, Robbo has proved me wrong in so many ways over the year. I thought he was taking over an Inverness Caledonian Thistle that were in free fall, and he's proved me wrong, and I love that in football. He's really done well.
But
there.
he wasn't a bad manager at Hearts.
Of course
he had the lunatic up front.
But I just wondered. I think Robbo would have to. I mean, he loves Hearts, and I'm sure he would take the Hearts job and all that. I'm not sure. I don't know him that well, but there would be. But would he? I think he would want general assurances about Robbo's nobody's patsy.
Oh, absolutely, and that's why I think
he would
I
want
think
to
he's
know.
the man.
He would want to know where and when the boundaries were.
Listen, you never know. They might even look at it and say, Stevie Naismith here, player coach. Who knows? But I still.
That's a fascinating.
Well, it is. I think they need to get somebody that gets the fans right back on side. If indeed the axe ever falls, we're 2 games into it. It's early days, but of all the managers in the real unrest, Tynecastle is where it's happening.
And Bud's already said top 3 team. They're a top 3 team.
Yeah.
If they hover about the bottom 6 for the next 5 or 6 games, then somebody will make a decision somewhere.
Yeah.
And you've got to look at it, Peter, as well. I mean, I only saw highlights. I was down in England, but I did my due diligence for coming on the show and watched all the highlights, as you do. And from what the highlights and read in the press and talked to my mates in the press before coming on, Hearts were lucky to get a draw on Saturday at home to Ross County.
Yeah, okay, a 6-1 thrashing is never good at the best of times. I did have an email coming in from Vietnam on social media saying, basically, can you have a look at Hibs? He's an unhappy Hibby. He works out there. Richard Harkis said, I don't like what's happening with the manager, the players he's bought, the way Hibs are playing now. Could it be the fallout from the Neil Lennon factor around Easter Road at the time? It's a different manager. He's buying different players. Equally so, some Hibs fans are disgruntled, but some will be saying, hey, it's early in the season. Paul Heckingbottom is putting his stamp on his own side now. Here's a look at how he's faring. Well, as you know, Scott Allen was a Neil Lennon signing, but as far as Christian Doidge, I think the jury's out on him from some of the Hibbies that I'm speaking to. But what do you make of Heckingbottom and his leadership at Hibs?
I think I don't want to sit in the fences with Hibs fans, because I know Hibs fans were absolutely enraged by the capitulation at Ibrox and Saturday. But I would caution that it might be a wee bit early to say. First of all, when he did well at the end of last season, did really well at the end of last season, and yes, that was Neil Lennon's side, but he kept it on course. We've got to remember we're 2 games into the season. The 1-1 just at the death against St Mirren, and had the awful result on Sunday, and it was a very poor result, and not a great performance either, and especially when they went down to 10, it was very poor. For all, Rangers were excellent. So I think it's a little early to say, but it's not been a lot early to say from Hibs fans, because I've been in touch with Hibs fans, Peter, and I was actually quite surprised at the vehemence about it.
Yeah, well, some of I've been speaking to former Hibs players who, just don't rate it. But from my point of view, I think the way things are going at the moment, they look a better bet than Hearts. I'm keen to see the way they go, because I like Stevie Mallon, and I think Scott Allen will pick passes. It's just whether they've got somebody to convert them.
Yeah, I think it was interesting, the Canberra situation at the weekend as well. Canberra, as we know, was somewhat of a thorn for Neil Lennon at times, so that'll be interesting to see what they got there. They lost, of course, Mark McNulty, who's now back at Sunderland. So, like in all teams after a certain level in Scotland, the big difference is who you've got up in 9. If your number 9 is scoring, it can take you from you know, from being an eighth team, eighth into fourth or whatever.
Yeah.
But I still caution Hibs fans that it might be just a bit too early. But they'll roar back at me, and they have roared back at me over the weekend. No, it's not. We're not happy.
Yeah, never mind the results, Hugh, at the moment, which are heaping pressure on Craig Levein. I mean, do you think, of the two managers, do you think Levein is in the next couple of weeks about to face, or Anne Budge is about to face that major decision? Do I keep him or sack him?
Yes, and I think it could be. I mean, I think the pressure mounts in football, and I don't think we'll have to wait for weeks. I think on Friday night, in front of your telly with a cup of tea or whatever your chosen beverage is, that's a huge game for Hearts. Motherwell v Heart of Midlothian, Fir Park, Friday night is huge.
If they lose?
If they lose, I think already that it's decision time. She has to make a decision.
Okay, it's an interesting one. It's all about opinions. You can give us your view on it, whether you're Hibs, Hearts, any Scottish Premiership side. Give us your thoughts on it all. Celtic looking to do the business tonight against Cluj to try and book their place in the final playoff to get into the Champions League group stages. We'll be discussing that on tomorrow night's programme and looking ahead to the Europa League. Don't forget, you can download the app on your phone if you want to. PLZ Soccer app. You can have all the news, all the unique video content. You can share and like and follow us on Facebook, but don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks to Ruffy, thanks to Hugh MacDonald as well, and from myself, Peter Martin, thanks to you for watching us.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.